For this first tutorial on Pixlr.com, I'm going to show you how I got to this final product here. Here's what a blank document looks like in Pixlr. Over to the left are your tools and the right are your layers. Layers are important because you could separate the background from your subject matter. You then have undo and redo, and let's get started. First, you need to find a background. This is the most important. You want to find one whose pixels are at least in the 300 or above range. You could save this and then open it in your document, but I find it's easier just to copy paste. I like to title my layers so I know what is in each one. I titled this one background. I like to lock my background, which is this toggle here, meaning that I can't do any other edits to it while it's locked. This protects it from getting accidentally erased. You may be wondering, what happened to your background? I thought you just locked it. That was the hide and show toggles. It allows you to hide what you're working on so you could focus on other things. I'm starting with my next subject matter. I chose an astronaut because I thought that would be pretty crazy with a medieval castle. Before I copy pasted it, I opened up a new layer. This allows me to create a different layer or subject matter without messing up my background. I then clicked on the Arrange tool, which allowed me to pick up and move the subject matter of the astronaut anywhere onto my background. I could change the size, whatever I need to do. Now that I pretty much have it positioned where I would like for it to go, I make sure that in this new layer, I go to my drawing tools. There I have more options, such as the erase tool, which is the one I'm going to be using primarily to get rid of this outer space background on my astronaut. I want to make it look like the astronaut is actually in this castle scene. While using the erase tool, you could adjust the size and what's called the softness. The softness means you could either have the hard edge of where you erase, or it can look more blended. I double checked that I was in the correct layer so I'm not accidentally erasing the background, and I just get rid of that entire out of space background. So it looks like my astronaut is just kind of hanging out, floating in over the castle. Obviously, this is very sped up. I am not this fast when I'm using the eraser tool. I really like to take my time, zoom in by scrolling on my mouse, and make the size of my eraser tool smaller so I could get those tinier spots. I'm now on to the next subject matter, which I thought it would be kind of crazy if it looked like a flower was growing on the outside of one of these circular parts of the castle. So I used my Arrange tool again, position the flower where I would like it to go and the size that I would need it before I used my eraser tool. Again, the flower is on a separate layer. So I have a background layer of the castle, a layer with the astronaut, and now a third layer with the flower. Now I'm going into the flower's background and erasing the big parts first before I use the smaller eraser tool to refine some of those edges. Now I'm just copying and pasting the third and final subject matter on my surrealistic scene, which is this cat that looks like it's napping on the outside of this medieval castle. I use the Arrange tool to adjust the size and position it where I would like it to go so it can show overlap. I even use the Arrange tool to turn this photo to make it look like it was laying flatter on the ground. And now I'm going back in with that favorite eraser tool, taking away the big parts first, then going in using the scrolling part of my mouse to zoom in with the smaller eraser and refine some of those edges. All right, I think I'm done. I have 3 separate things for my subject matter on top of my background for my surrealistic scene. Here I have some of the materials you may need to create your surrealistic magazine collage. The first and probably most important step for this magazine project is to find a background. The background allows your subjects to kind of live in that space. Here I'm flipping through, I finally found mine. When I went to rip it out of the magazine, it ripped, so I'm cutting it out and now gluing it onto my separate paper. I ripped it a little more, so I fixed it. There we go, good to go. Now I'm looking for my subjects. Now the subjects could be anything that you think would be odd, weird, or not make sense in the background that you chose. This is what makes it look surrealistic. So I'm looking through and trying to find things that look real. I'm staying away from cartoony looking things and adding those to my stack of possible subject matter. I'm doing what I call rough cuts, meaning that I'm not cutting it out precisely just yet, just like the general shape. Now I'm taking the rough cut subject matter and starting to cut it more precisely. This is probably going to take you the most time because you're going to have to carefully turn your subjects and the scissors to be able to cut out the backgrounds from each subject matter without cutting away the important stuff. So even though I'm going super fast, this did take me a little while to do. So don't be afraid to take your time. Don't rush it, because then you might make a little mistake that would be kind of hard to fix. Now that I've precisely cut all my subject matter, I slowed this down so you guys can see me try to find and arrange my scene to make it look surrealistic, make it look crazy, but still kind of real at the same time. I have not glued anything yet. I'm just placing it on the paper, trying to figure out where everything can go. Oh man, that looks really weird. Oh geez, what have I done? Now I start gluing down all my subject matter. The ones that are not overlapping or kind of stand on their own, I glued down first, then I went to the ones that overlap each other. Y'all, I am all done with my surreal magazine collage. Now, I'm going to show you guys a close-up here, and what I want you guys to notice is where things overlap and how showing overlap makes things look more surreal. Get it? Real? Surreal? Anyways, I hope you guys have a lot of fun with this, and I can't wait to see what y'all make.